chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga. How things manifest in relation to the Absolute, and how the Absolute has pure existence, pure awareness or knowledge, and the substratum of all values become manifested different existential things, ideas, events, and possibilities. Also, how that becomes certain configurations in consciousness, and how the same is experienced as effects, as various kinds of affectivity. All these come under what we call Vibhuti. And Vibhuti Yoga. Now, people try to meditate on the Absolute, meditate on God, meditate on an Ishtadevata, that is a personal God of a certain form. And then they complain that they cannot concentrate on that God. They cannot concentrate on the formula that they have accepted from their teacher. And they do not find it easy to keep the mind ever in union or relationship with what they want to relate. And this chapter is an answer to such people. One difficulty in this chapter is it takes us away from our normal concept of the sense of sacredness or holiness in a religion. A religion approves of certain values, certain kind of sacredness and holiness, and we have such images of what heaven would look like and how God can be visualized. Those ideas are somewhat rejected in this chapter. The overall epistemological coverage of this chapter is not according to any set pattern that we know as a religious or even mystical. When we speak of Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahman, it is a reference to the world of things, the world of relations, the world of values. Relations and values are to be taken together. And there, the disappearance or the effacement of the many by the one. And in the last chapter, in the last verse, Lord says, by one fragment alone, this entire universe is held. And he asks Arjuna, where is the need for you to know it exhaustively? This world, which is only a fragment. If you take any bit of that fragment, you cannot exhaust it. But when you go into the specificity of things, even something so simple as a human being, the physical body of a human being, to know its bones, its muscles, its nerves, and the compositions of these in terms of physico-chemical and other structures, we find that no person can completely exhaust at one single subject. If that is so, how about this universe? And Krishna admonishes Arjuna for wanting to know this specialized knowledge. He says, it will not lead you to that realization which you look for. Since you are interested in it, I shall give a short account of it. And this is in continuation with the previous chapter, the 9th chapter. So with the first half of the book, the second half of the book is related by describing the absolute in terms of these values and these manifestations. And in these manifestations which he himself gives, there are certain things which are visible, and certain things are lauded as values in our everyday life, such as non-violence, etc. And then he goes into a whole range of mythological figures, kind of archetypal references. The first archetypal reference that comes is of the 7 rishis and the 4 Manus. Manu, etymologically related with the word man, and Manas shows archetypal aspects of the mind itself. And 7 again is we speak of the 7 worlds above and the 7 worlds below. And when we take the chakras also, we have 3 chakras beneath the heart and 3 above, culminating in a 7th at the very top. So certain mystical references are here. So it's not purely physiological nor psychological, not even psychology of the ordinary type. There is a school of psychology known as traditional psychology. Traditional psychology is the study of certain key symbols which are in various traditions, like the Egyptian, Babylonian, Norse, Germanic, Slavic, also of other Oriental traditions, Indian, Chinese, Japanese. then of old America, like the Mayan, the Incan. And in that psychology, which was developed mostly in the form of mythological stories, there are references to certain values according to a pattern. Jung discusses this very much in Man and His Symbols, and also in his book on alchemy. So there is reference to that. Then there are references to the human faculties, such as sight, etc. And what is useful for man in the external world. But on the whole, there is a lack of coherence in this chapter, because we do not see one definite system according to which the vibhutis are mentioned here. I still feel like going back into this chapter for a detailed study to see if we can find at least a vague scheme to which these various values belong and values and relationship belong. The most essential study in human psychology is the study of relationship and values. Yes, all our relationships are based on some value. And only through that, the realization of that value, we maintain that relationship. When that value is not there, we cannot continue that relationship. This is the same for us with God or with the world. And to know this value or know the relationship through the value is to relate yourself most harmoniously. And in this meditation of which we spoke, we began, our first mistake is that we are looking for a God. This world and God, we already made a bifurcation in our mind, a dichotomy in our mind, and we look for a conceptual God which we have conceived, and it is not sitting anywhere. If you have already a picture in your mind of what God is, so when you see God face to face every day in a million ways, you do not recognize God in any of them, because you are carrying your picture of God, and you are saying he is an anti-God. No, he is anti. He cannot be God. Is Johnny God? No, he cannot be God. So you go on rejecting, this is not God, this is not God, and you don't see it anywhere. At the same time, you accept certain fundamentals like God is omnipresent. Present means he is here. And then how do you say this is not? That means you have not genuinely accepted that God is omnipresent. And you say without God there is nothing. Without God there is not your mind, not your consciousness. Then why do you think that you are different? Why do you think that your consciousness is different? So we have to educate ourselves first and to have a concept of the whole against what we are conditioned always to know the particular. We know the particular and we know how to look for the particular, but we do not know how to look for the universal. Apart from the particular, the universal does not exist, and every bit of the particular belongs to the universal. Thus, from inside, if you get an awakening that all this is that, then your world changes. your world gets a new glow, a new dimension, a new savor, a new fragrance. It is already divinized. But then there are certain impossible situations. When you think of divine, you think it is peaceful, beautiful, generous, glorious, and then you say these sham, stupid things of life, something very cruel, very nasty. How do you relate that? So religious people, they have drawn a line and say this side is the divine, the other side is satanic. If you, the Gita, in the next chapter we will come to see that this idea is totally abolished by Gita. To make a dichotomy of the absolute into God and Satan, and then absolute is no absolute. Darkness and light, both are to be given in a place on your total vision. And we will come to that slowly as we proceed. Huya eva mahabaho shrunu me paramam vajaha yatteham priyamanaya vakshami idakamyaya. Again, O mighty Arjuna, listen to my supreme word, which I, desiring your well-being, shall tell you, so dear and favorably disposed. Here the word Hidakamya comes. The Lord decides what is good for us. What is good for us, we have a concept, and that may not be really good. In the Kathopanishad, two sets of values are shown. One, the pleasurable, the other, the good. First, Nachiketas was put to a set of values which are pleasurable, and he was asked to choose those values. He refused. Instead, he wanted only what was good. And then Yama decided that he was looking for the path of the wise. So these two paths, the pleasurable and the good. And we come to the crossroad every now and then. Between the two we have to choose one. The temptation is always to move towards the pleasurable. And if that is not granted, we are angry with God. I ask for it and you don't give it. Just like kids and their parents. Kids say, this is good for me. Mama gave this. And Mama says, this is not good for you. Don't eat that too much. And don't do that too much. They say, no, no, no. That is good for us. I want it. And you grown-ups are also like that. Only that their parents is God. And to God they say the same thing. So here the good God says, for your own good I am telling you. Name viduhu suraganaha prabhavam namaharshayah ahamadarhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvajah. Neither the hosts of the gods nor the great sages know my origin, for I am indeed in every way the source of the gods and the great sages. Here we have a picture. One day a big column was seen. First it was of smoke, and then Brahma and Vishnu, they were going that way. They wondered what it could be, and they decided to go and have a good look at it. But when they came very close, the smoke disappeared, and in its place was a big fire, a column of fire. Then Vishnu said, I shall become a boar and go and find out the base of it. And Brahma said, I shall change into a swan and fly up and go and see its top. They did not know what it was, so they went on and on in their search, and finally they gave up, and both returned. And the pig said, Vishnu said, I tried to reach the bottom, I couldn't reach it. And of course Brahma told a lie that it found in the top. And on hearing this, Shiva became very angry for telling a lie. Brahma had 5 heads, and so one head was nipped away. That's the story. Anyway, here the reference is, these gods do not know me, the absolute aspect. What does that otherwise mean? Otherwise it means the faculties do not understand, because with a pair of scissors you can cut so many things, but it cannot turn back and cut itself. With your eyes you can look at so many things, but with the eye you cannot turn back and look at the structure of the eye itself. Thus, that through which everything is manifesting, with your senses and your mind you will not be able to know it. It is given in another way, yado vacho nivartande aprapya manasa saha. And when the word or the mind try to describe it, they recoil upon themselves. So this is the same thing given in another way. Suppose it is one hand which is manipulating everything. The divine is seen as just the manipulating hand. And he makes the space. The quality of Akasha is for objects to occupy, like the sun and the moon and the stars and the earth, everything in the space. And the quality of the space is given as sound. And in the man there is a faculty, the ear, with which he can hear. The sound is what is heard. So sound is the quality of space, and ear is the faculty. Hearing is what we experience. So the cosmological aspect of it is space. The psychological aspect of it is hearing. Similarly, there is the air. the quality of which is contact, sparsha. And all the joys of fondling and embrace, everything comes from this air aspect, which is also the prana causes all the samvedana. Samvedana means feelings. So the feelings which belong to the prana are attributed to air. So cosmologically there is air, and psychologically there is touch. And the same hand, which the Chaitanya of it is creating the mind. The substance of it is creating the cosmos. And then it produces the light, the fire and the light. And the eye is there to see. And similarly, there is water, and there comes the sapidity, the honey and the flower, which the bee tastes, or we taste. And then the smell of the earth. Thus, there is a whole cosmological expansion. And then there is like a seer, a visualizer of this whole universe, which experiences that world through the faculty of the senses. Neither the world knows, nor these senses or faculties know that they have a common origin, a common source. And the common source being one and the same divine absolute Brahman or Ishvara. Those who want to meditate on God, they don't lack anything here, because every sound, every form, every touch, every taste, every smell speaks of the same. Only that there is what is called the Deva aspect in it, and an Asura aspect of it. Deva is when a thing is understood as it should be, or placed as it ought to be, or kept in its natural order, then you say Deva. And when they are misplaced and chaotic, then it becomes Asura. I always wondered. I begin the day by arranging my table and arranging my room. And then I pull out one book, and then I pull out another book. Then I pull out one paper, then two pencils, and one pen, and another book, and another reference, and another paper, and another stamp. By about noon, my table is so chaotic. And then I worry that, hey, look at how ugly I made this place, how dirty it is. That this is pure, just chaos. And then start again putting order into it. And then it looks very neat and I feel very comfortable. Now it's neat again. But it's only for 5 minutes and again it starts. Can you say because I was neat, that was the only time I was, and when it became chaotic it was another person? No, it's the same person, the same thing. And the neatness and the chaos are arising out of the placement of the same thing. But we have made separated the two so much that only one half we accept, the other we do not accept. But if you know, the Deva and the Asura are two aspects. Just like Bertrand Russell says, mind and matter are two ways of looking at the same reality from two ends. From this end, when you look at it, it's all spirit. From the other end, when you look at it, it's all matter. This kind of a monistic vision we need. विद्यमानात् अनादिञ्च वेत्ति लोकमहेश्वरम् असम्मूढः समर्थ्येषु सर्वपापैः प्रमुच्यते. He who understands me as unborn and beginningless, as the great Lord of the world, that man undiluted among mortals is absolved from all sins. How does a knowledge that everything is the divine or God or the absolute that saves you from papa, then you do not limit your relationship with anything, and all become your brothers and sisters and your kin in spirit, and there is a flow possible then. There is nothing obstructing. Another person who is not seeing you say or seeing you so may still oppose you. When a child is picked up by a mother from its play and wants to take somewhere, the child may cry, the child may scratch, the child may hit the mother, but the mother does not hit the child back. It knows that this poor child does not understand what I am going to do, and it is struggling. So you can develop the same compassion. बुद्धिर्ज्ञानमसम्मोह क्षमा सत्यं दमः शमः सुखं दुःखं भावो अभावो भयं च अभयमेव च अहिंसा समदा तुष्टि तपोदानं यशो वशः भवन्ति भावो भूतानां मत्त एव पृथग्विधाः. Reason, wisdom, non-delusion, patience, truth, self-restraint, calmness, pleasure, pain, becoming and non-becoming, sense of danger and security, non-hurting, balance, contentment, austerity, benevolence, fame, shame, are the various distinct attitudes arising from me alone. So here a number of attitudes are given, and values which are mostly belonging to mind or personality, for our approach, our moods, they are given, in which some of them are pairs of opposites. Not only Sukha is there, but Dukkha is also there. Bhava and Abhava is there. Bhaya is there and Abhaya is there. So opposites are also there. So this is what I earlier referred to as the non-conformity to the usual concept of a religious glorification of God. Here we are asked to look into our own states, our own attitudes. When Bhaya comes, and also we know this is one of the manifestations, which is an imperative thing, which I should accept. And that itself can bring Abhaya, because now you see to the whole to which you belong. And Bhaya came from inhibiting your view of the total, of the cosmic, and so it affects you. So this gives us a good exercise of always watching and waiting and seeing or recognizing or recalling the divine manifestations of which it's just like the wave becoming conscious of the ocean and watching how the whole ocean is rolling on. And thus we get a chance here as part of the universe to watch the universe manifesting right before our eyes, in and through us. That's a very good meditation. And then nobody can complain that I am not seeing God. So these 17 possibilities given here. Always one thing or the other is happening. You are reasoning and you say this is it. And that brings certitude. But things look different. You say, I'll wait. Have patience. Because the truth is evident. And so you hold yourself back in restraint. And that brings a calmness, a peace. The seeing within you how the divine operates. Then you are not looking at anything different. You are not looking for anything different. Maharshayah saptapurve chatvaro manavastatha matbhava manasa jada yesham lokaimaha prajaha. The 7 great sages of old, as also the 4 lawgivers, Manus, are born from my own process of becoming and mind, and from this all progeny in the world. The Saptarshis, according to our Puranas, they are Kratu, Vasishta, Angiras, Pulastya, Atri, Pulaha, Marichi. And they are called Maharshis. Rishi is a Kavi, a poet. Rishi is also a seer, one who sees and one who can create, and create poetically. That means it is their mind. And in us also there are seers and also poets. In fact, most of the things we do are poetic creations. That means we imagine. And then according to our imagination we change our environments. Like a poet who is sitting to write a poetry, you sit and dream of making a new home. And then you decide in that how that home should look, how the room should be arranged, and where the plants are to be put, where the furniture to be put, and what books are to be there. You are all creating all this with the mind, and then afterwards it is accomplished also as you visualize it. So the creation is a poetry which is coming true to life. And thus, in us there are rishis and in us there are poets. But this is, we are speaking here of not the rishi in each one of us, but the Maharshi. So, an archetypal rishi, an archetypal seer, an archetypal poet in the entire humanity, in all beings, and how they manifest. Even, suppose we take a word like Angiras. Anga means our lips. Rasa means the essence. My eyes, the rasa of it is seeing beauty. The rasa of my ear is experiencing melody or sweetness in sound. Thus my every anga of mine, my legs are also angas, and with that the rasa of that is mobility, freedom. I should be free to move. And hand is to accomplish, to achieve. Any achievement is like a rasa of my hand. The rasa of communication through my tongue. Suppose one meditates on this. How you can make the anga rasas become more and more acceptable to you and others. Then you become a rishi of anga rasa. You become angiras. In fact, all people are trying their best to develop the rasas of their angas. And thus, in one way or other, we are all engaged in the tapas of angarasa to become angiras. Suppose you take your speech, your word, and you want to develop your word so that it becomes very precise, comprehensive, and effective, that when you speak, others become convinced of it. That means you are now in a pursuit of making your speech the greatest thing, and then you become a Brihaspati. You become a Brihaspati. So Brihaspati, otherwise you may think in Purana there was once upon a time a certain being called Brihaspati. That is also possible. That is a mythological way of looking at it. But the myth is in you. To discover that myth within you and experience it, that makes the whole difference. So the four Manus are Swayambhu, Swarochisha, Araivada, Uttama. And according to some scholars, these four Manus are the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti and Turiya within us. Not that these are the ancient Manus. Manus are always there, they are parts of mind, the four aspects of mind. And Kala, whenever there is mind functioning, sequences first, after that. And thus, without thinking of Kala, without thinking of a time, the mind cannot function. And therefore, Manu and the time are taken together. The four yugas, the four aspects of time. That means the circulation of consciousness through the four aspects of the wakeful, the dream, the deep sleep, and the transcendental. So, this way we can go into the symbolic understanding of this value, then these words becomes more meaningful. Otherwise it becomes a catalogue of terms. Yedam vipurim yogam cha mamayo veti tattvadaha so vikampena yogena yujyadena samsayaha. He who understands according to fundamental principles my unique value together with its unitive balance by non-wavering contemplation attains union. In this there is no room for doubt. Here the reference Veti Tattvadaha, he who knows according to the Tattva, and he is considered as one who attains yoga, and not somehow. So it is essential that we should go into the deeper purport of this connotation of all these terms. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartade idi mattva bhajante mam buddha bhavasamannvidaha. I am the source of all. From me everything moves outward. Understanding thus, the wise adore me, endowed with the intuition of fewer becomings. We see here reference to a centrifugal throwing out, and as shown in this picture, where from the same source everything is thrown out. The cosmos is an unfoldment, and the psyche is also an unfoldment. The one chit that becomes manifest as Chaitanya, Chaitanya into Chetana. So the material aspect of it, the physical aspect of it, and the conscious aspect of it, both are related to the same source, and there is a centrifugal distribution, and the meditation should be a centripetal return to the source. From the many you go to the one, from the effects you go to the cause. And what Vedanta requires a person to do is, with the many, you should be able to see always the one to which the many belong. And from the karya, the effect, you should be able to retrace your step to the karana, the causal. And finally you go beyond the causal, where beyond the cause. And when you go beyond the cause, it becomes what you call the adida, the karana adida. The Supreme is not meant to be a karana or an effect, but only in relation with the phenomenon you think like that. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartade idi matva bhajante ma buddha bhavasamannidaha. I am the source of all, from me everything moves outward. Understanding thus, the wise adore me, endowed with the intuition of your becoming. Bhava, Buddha Bhava Samanvidaha. Macchitta Matkada Prana Bodhayanda Parasparam Kadhayandascha Mam Nityam Tushyandi Jaramandi Cha. With their relational minds affiliated to me, their life tendencies penetrating in me, enlightening each other and ever conversing about me, they are content and rejoice. And this can be interpreted with a religious concept, and also it can be taken in a very universal sense. When you take it in the religious sense, those great masters, great teachers, great rishis, or spiritually endowed people who are always meditating on me, and with their pranayama they establish their mind, their consciousness on the absolute, and they experience many wonderful things. And when those Mahatmas, they meet each other, they share their experiences, and each one is learning from the other. And when we read the old sutras like Brahma Sutras of Badarayana and the Mimamsa Sutras of Jaimini, Badarayana is quoting Jaimini and Jaimini is quoting Badarayana. This man's authority is the other, and the other man's authority is this. Also, you go to Brahma, Brahma is meditating, he is praying. He is the creator. To whom does he pray? He is praying to Vishnu. And you go to Vishnu, and there he is also praying. And what is he meditating on? He is meditating on Shiva. And you go to Shiva, Shiva is meditating on Vishnu. So they are mutually meditating. They are mutually respecting. So thus they make each one rejoice. Another sense is, see, when Vasanta came, the spring season was suddenly brought to the Himalayas by minister of Kama. When Kama came and to distract Shiva so that he may fall in love with Uma, Haimavati, suddenly the spring season came. And there Kalidasa is making a very beautiful description of how there is love everywhere. So their very prana is affected by the one vital energy, vital force that is coming from same source. And thus birds come to each other and they sing, they rub their cheeks and they rejoice. The antelope is there, and with the horns of the antelope it is scratching the eyelids of the female and thus making her pleased. And the pairs of elephants, of bees, and flowers coming to, and the bees coming to the flowers, and thus the flower is rejoiced, the bees rejoice. Everywhere you can see life is so construed, so done, that from one source the idea of enjoying in the company of the other is there. And in that enjoyment, they do not remember the source. Who created this wonderful world for me? Nobody remembers. In fact, it is not created as separate from the Creator. The creation and the Creator and the stuff of creation and the act of creation are all one and the same. And that where they meet. Okay? When you bring your two hands together, two fingers together, and you touch, there is a mind behind which is doing it. But the touch is felt by the two fingers, the tip of the two fingers. Similarly, in everyone who is enjoying, behind their touch, behind their enjoyment, there is one and common thing. And that we forget. Macchitta matkada prana. Say macchitta. Matkada prana. The prana and the mind are here both related to the same source. Bodhayanda parasparam kadhayanda chamam nityam tushyandi jaramanti cha. Nityam tushyandi ramanti. Every day they are enjoying. And in that enjoyment, you should see me, the divine. Tesham sadada yuktanam bhajatam priti purvagam dadami buddhi yogam dam yena mam uvayanti de. To such established in unbroken union with affectionate adoration, I grant that kind of unity of understanding by which they attain to me. And it is said here, Buddhi Yogam, What is that Buddhi Yoga? We may also call the Buddhi Yoga Swarupa Jnana Yoga or Brahma Sayujya. Occasionally, when we come to the peak experience of a joy, we forget ourselves. Even the immediate cause for that pleasurable feeling is forgotten. And in that great union, we cannot think of anything else. In the Yoga Vasishtha, there is a story that there was an Ahalya who fell in love with an Indra. This is not the same story of Ahalya and Indra or Gautama, but here also it is said like that. This Ahalya was also the wife of a Gautama, and a youngster called Indra fell in love. And so the husband reported to the king. So the king asked them to be brought to the court. And then they were asked to be whipped. And this man and woman, they got into an embrace, and then they were whipped. But they both only laughed. They didn't see any pain. Then they were asked to be thrown in the water, and they were still clinging on to each other, and they didn't drown. Thus so many kind of persecutions were done, and then the king became so puzzled. He wanted to find out why none of these persecutions had any effect on them. Then they said, in our love, we have forgotten our body, our senses, our minds, our separate identity. We know only one thing here, that is this ecstasy, this nirvriti. So that state of nirvriti is what we may call anandakhanam. So when you have a keval anandam, you forget everything else. And that is the union of Swarupa Yoga or Brahma Sayujya that one gets, which is spoken of here. Teshamevanugambarthamahamaജ്ഞാനജം tamah nāśyāmyātmabhāvastho jnānadīpena bhāsvada. Specifically, because of compassion for them, I, abiding as what has become the self, destroy the ignorance born of darkness by the shining lamp of wisdom. So every time we experience this oneness, ecstasy, that is a time for thanksgiving. We should be very grateful that the Supreme is so considerate, the Divine is so considerate, that He presides in our heart, and He lights this lamp of wisdom, by which our darkness is dispelled at least for a little while, and we see His own glory there. Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adideva Majam Vipum Ahustvam Rshaya Sarve Devarshin Naradastatha Asido Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Pravishime. You, as being the Supreme Absolute, the Supreme Abode, the Supreme Purifier, the Eternal Divine Person, Primal Divinity, the Unborn, the All-Pervading, all the sages say this of you. the divine sage Narada, so too Asita, Devala, Vyasa, and you yourself confirm it to me. Here again, we see four rishis are mentioned, and all these rishis have testified for of the absolute nature represented by Krishna as the common base of everything. And this is Arjuna speaking now. Narada is considered as a Devarshi, but Asita, Devala and Vyasa are not called Devarshis, they are called Brahmarshis. What is this difference between Devarshi and Brahmarshi? They represent the two trends in Indian spirituality, one belonging to the Vedic context and the other belongs to the native soil. The word Asita means non-white. Similarly, Vyasa is also Krishna Dvaipayana. And they represent an old stock of Indian spirituality which was afterwards revived and revalued. Irrespective of the difference between the Devarshi and Brahmarshi, they all accept one and the same absolute. And so there is no one who is not seeing you as the Param Brahma, Param Dhama. Sarvametam manye yanmam vadasi Keshava nahide bhagavan vyaktim vidurdeva nadanava. I believe that all this that you say is valid, O Keshava, Krishna. Neither the divinities nor the demons, O Lord, know your unique nature. Swayamevātmanātmānam vettattvam purushottama bhūdabhavana bhūdeja devadeva jagatpade. You yourself indeed know yourself by yourself, most high Godhead, presiding principle of elemental expression and of becoming, light of shining ones, the Lord of the universe. This is also a reference to the criterion of valid knowledge of the norm of absolute truth. Our reference here is not something which is physical there, and therefore you physically analyze it and then make an assessment of that. It's called pratyaksha. If you have experienced something previously, then you can make an inference about it. It's called animana. If there is something similar to it, then you can make a comparison and know it through analogy. But where you have not previously experienced and your reference is not anything visible and there is nothing equal to it, the pramanas which you know, they all lack. So you may say that this can be known only by itself revealing itself to itself. So as there is through the homogeneity something which is the same, and when that opens up and enables it to know, then we know, otherwise we don't. So here Nataraj Guru says the best way to wisdom is through intuition, which is an approach different from objective knowledge. The way of intuition is to identify oneself with the object, or in other words, to abolish as far as possible subjective and objective prejudices which hide the true nature of the thing as viewed from its own inside. The present word supports the view that the Absolute is best known to the Absolute by its own norms and standards. Outside norms only measure as if by guesswork, indirectly at best, through symbolic language or inference. Knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the meaning are all here conceived as belonging to one normative principle, the self which is a measure of all things. The methodological requirement of abolishing the natural tribasic tripody in Vedanta, tendency in cognition, is here openly discarded, and though the status of the Absolute is still spoken of as a divinity or a theological entity of some kind, we find it erased beyond all such suspicions of theology or above what is merely theistic. वक्तुमर्हस्य शेषेण दिव्याह्यात्मा विभूदयः याभिर्विभूतिभिर्लोकानिमां त्वं व्याप्य तिष्ठसि. Be pleased to tell me, without omission, of the divine perfections of your own self, by which specific expressions you pervade these words while remaining apart. Katham vidyamaham yogim swam sada parichindayan keshu keshu jabhaveshu chintosi bhagavan maya. How shall I, constantly meditating on you, know you, O mystic yogi? In what particular expressions, O blessed one, are you to be cognized by me? So this is the same problem which we mentioned earlier. Even Arjuna has difficulty in meditating on him. So he asks, please tell me how I should meditate on you. You say that you are everything, but give me a scheme by which I can continuously meditate on you. Hantate kathayishyami divyahyaatma vibhodayah pradhanyadah kuru shreshta nyatyanto vistarasya me. And Krishna said, I shall recount to you the bright and glorious values that pertain to myself, graded according to their importance. O best of the Kurus, Arjuna, for there is no end to the elaborations of the items pertaining to me. And then he starts now elaborating. Ahamatma gudakesha sarvabhudashayasthidaha ahamahadischa madhyamcha bhudanamandayeva. In another words, we read, only the middle is known, the beginning is not known, the end is not known. But here the Lord says, I am the beginning, and also I am the end. The middle where it is manifested, that also I am. But you should me as Sarva Bhudashaya Sthita. In all the elements, in all that has come into being, I am in that. I am the very stuff of it. This is a very beautiful thing to meditate on. When we take our own body, our to see that this is possible. Our hand, which is placed above from our head, our brain is within the brain. We just think, let me touch. And all the fingers come close together. And thus you see there is a principle of animation which is in every part of the body, which can be controlled from one center. And if we watch all the beings, they all behave the same way. They come to life. They remain in life with all the emotions and feelings which are typical of each being. And when their time is over, it is withdrawn. Thus the expression and the recall all can be traced one and the same source. To know that is to be directly in touch with that divine. When two people love each other, at once they know that they love each other. And they know the mind of the other without words. When in their mind the slightest hesitation comes, distrust comes, then also they know it. What is that intuition which is making everything known to you so transparent from within? By meditating on that, we see the ever-abiding Ishvara, or God. So I put this picture for a long time there because it's all this, the entire scale. Aditya namaham Vishnu Jyotisham Raviram Siman Marijir Marudamasmi Nakshatranam Aham Shaji. This is also very beautiful. Mythologically, there are 12 Adityas. They are Indra, Thata, Parjanya, Toshta, Pusha, Aryama, Bhaga, Vivaswan, Vishnu, Amsuman, Varuna, Mitra. And of these 12, he refers to himself as Vishnu. Adityanam aham Vishnu Jyotisham Raviram Suman. And when you take only the luminary aspect of it, he says, I am Ravi. Among the Maruts, he said he is Mariji. And among the nakshatras is Shashi. If you take it in the sense of nakshatra as star, then certainly moon is not a star. But here the reference is to nakshatra in the sense na chadate iti, that which never hurts anyone. That means one which is only very kind and favorable. Among that I am Shashi. So people after the day's heat, when the sun is gone, who huts, come to the moonlight, they feel very much relieved. And only in that sense, nakshatra, Shashi is a nakshatra, one who does not hurt. Marichi is also to be understood that way. This world is, say, Marut and Marichi are related. When the prana is in you, The prana causes all the sensibilities and all the sensations. And the sensations, that is the source, the beginning of the semiosis. And when the value of the feeling starts suggesting to your mind things, the eidetics in you start functioning, and you start making eidetic projections. Eidetic projections are like seeing water in a desert. Thus the whole world is seen through the projections of the mind. And therefore the reference here is to Marichi amongst the merit. That's very significant. Vedanam samavedosmi devanamapmi vasavaha indriyanam manachasmi bhudanamasmi chedana. The verses like this and the previous one gives me a lot of hope to find within it a great scheme. Of the Adityas I am Vishnu, of luminaries the radiant sun, I am Marichi of the merits. Among the stars I am the moon, of the Vedas I am the Samaveda, of the divinity I am Indra. In respect of the senses I am the mind, and of life expressions I am pure intelligence. In this verse 22, where we begin from the Vedas to intelligence, it is one cluster. Veda is that by which you know your knowledge itself. And of the knowledge, then the overruler of the Indriyas, the senses, is referred to here as Indra, as the Vasava. And then senses themselves are coordinated by the mind, and so mind is taken here. And of life expressions, I am pure intelligence, Chedana. There is a word called Chit. When you say Sat Chit Ananda, Chit is pure consciousness. When pure consciousness is about to become manifested, where it becomes filled with possibilities, then it is called Chaitanya. And when it actualizes, it is more horizontalized. In that horizontalized state, it is called Chetana. So Chit, Chaitanya, Chetana. Rudranam Shankaraschasmi Vittesho Yaksharakshasam Vasunam Pavagachasmi Meru Sikirnamaham. Of Rudras, I am Shankara. Of the Yakshas and the Rakshasas, Vittesha, Lord of Wealth. Of the Vasus, I am Pavaka, the purifying elemental fire. And among heights, I am Meru. Again here the 11 Rudras are mentioned. The 11 Rudras are Aja, Ekapada, Ahirbuddhya, Toshta, Rudra, Hara, Shambhu, Trembagan, Abharajitan, Ishanan, Tribhuvanan. And Rudra is called Rudra because according to the story, Rudra was born from Brahma, and when he was born, he was crying. And when he was asked why he was crying, he said, because I have no name. You are crying, and so your name is Rudra, one who cries. But when Rudra became more identified with Shiva, the concept was changed that Rudra is not one who cries, but make the evil person cry, the wrong person's cry. And then again, here it is Rudra is among the Rudras. Said I am Shankara, not one who cries, but one who brings peace and one who brings auspiciousness. Purodasanja mukhyam mam Vithivardha Brahaspadim Senanina maham skanda Sarasamasmi sagaraha. Even in the case also of the household priest, O Partha Arjuna, know me the chief Brahaspati, or the general Sayam Skanda, the war god. In respect of lakes, I correspond to the ocean. The word Skanda, it does not appear in earlier literature, and so scholars are having some divided opinion about this word here. Alexander was called Skandar. So N. Gopalapulla wrote a book about Skanda of India as a version of Alexander, and so he made a research and found out that before the conquest of Alexander there was no mention of Skanda in any of the Indian books. And to relate that Skanda with Subramanya also, but there were references to Subramanya, not as Skanda. And so this is a kind of a parallel brought between Alexander and Skanda, for the reason that Alexander was a great martial leader and he was also a wise man. And in the case of Subramanya, he combines two aspects. One is he is Deva Senapati, that is a commander of the Devas, the warlord of the Devas, and also he was he was a guru. And among the gods, the word guru is referred to Subramanya more than any other god. Because he gave the Upadesha of Om Pranava to his own father. And therefore he is both guru and warlord. So Senaninam Aham Skandaha. Sarasvam Asmi Sagaraha. Of lakes is the ocean. Even in the case also of the household priest, O Partha, know me the chief Brahaspati, of the general Sayam Skanda, the war god. In respect of lakes, I correspond to the ocean. Maharshinam Bhruguraham Giram Asmi Gamaksharam Yajnanam Jabayajnosmi Stavaranam Himalaya. Of the great hermit sages, I am Bhrigu. Of articulated words, I am the one syllable Om. Of sacrifices, I am the sacrifice of silent repetition. Of immovables, I am the Himalayas. The inner connection between, say, Mauna on one side and Himalaya on the other, and Om on the other side of Mauna, and to have the sage Bhrigu then this becomes related in a very, very peculiar way. Ashwattha sarvavrikshanam devarshīnām ca nāradah gandharvānām citraradhah siddhānam kabilo munihi. Of trees I am Ashwatha, and of divine sages Narada, of Gandharvas Chitraratha, and of those of psychophysical attainments Kapila the recluse. Uchchai Shravasvamasvanam Vithimaham Amrudolbhavam Airanadam Airavadam Gajendranam Naranam Chanaradhivam. Know me among horses to be Uchchaisravas, born of the ambrosia of immortality, of noble elephants Airavada, and of men the king. So here there is resorting to Puranas. Ayudhanamaham vajram thenunam kamaduk prajanachasmi kandarpaha sarpanam asmi vasugihi. Of weapons I am the thunderbolt, of cows I am the milk yielder of all desires, of progenitors I am the god of erotics, of serpents I am Vasuki. So verses like this are very to Jung, they are all suggestive of the sex symbols. Anandachasmi naganam varuno yadasamaham Pidrunam aryamajasmi yamasam yamadamaham. And I am Ananda of Nagas, I am Varuna or the denizens of the deep, and Aryama of the ancestors, I am Yama of controllers. Here Natarajaguru says, the entities included here suggest on the one hand time or eternity. Ananda, which means endlessness, is the snake of Vishnu. Here it is the negative, dark or existential aspects of eternity that are suggested by these various entities. They may be looked upon as representing human values belonging to the background of the personality, where retrospection and the consequent element of regret are also involved. Varuna, for example, is regarded sometimes as a counterpart of Mitra, the former having to do with the darkness and the latter with the light of day. The Nagas or cobras with human faces in mythology definitely belongs to the nether world, and it is safe to conjecture that they belong to some form of outmoded or overcovered spiritual tradition. What is too negative or retrospective when we think of such semi-human cobras is balanced or corrected when we think of Ananda, where time is treated without asymmetry as eternal present, a notion in keeping with the absolutist outlook. With Varuna, the presiding deity of the sea and the watery element in general, the negative character to which we have referred is further confirmed, as water has more inertia implied in it than fire. Varuna is much feared, as evident from Vedic prayers, because he is supposed to know all the faults of his worshippers, even the winking of an eye. He is not just some god high above the world, but part and parcel of the laws of existence which regulate human life here and now. Aryama, as the chief of the ancestors, is more connected with Vaishyas and women rather than with the highest class. Pure or higher values are not implied in such an entity. Ancestor worship has its retrospective lag, which is intended here to be corrected or balanced by the reference to Ariyama, who perhaps represents the highest or furthermost point to which negative ancestor worship could be lifted. Yama is always located in the south, and vis-a-vis, the north has always occupied a place corresponding to Hades. If heaven is in the Himalaya, Hades may be said to be at the point toe of South India. This does not, however, mean that Yama has not been given an important place. In fact, in Vedanta, Yama sometimes in Katha Upanishad, for instance, occupies the place of a guru. He represents the first man, with his sister Yami, the first woman. His name suggests strict control, and as Dharmaraja, he is in charge of natural or spiritual laws and judgments bearing on justice. The stern or inexorable character of Yama, like a retribution, is a negative factor, in keeping with the other values alluded to above. Some time ago, when I was having a very uh, thorough study of the Mahabharata, to write the concept of dharma in the Mahabharata, many references in it I could trace to the Rig Veda. And then I made a similar study of the Rig Veda, followed by the studies of both Brahmanas and Aranyakas. And then I was struck by the use of symbols in this ancient literature. In modern days, only Jung made a serious attempt to call our attention to what is lying buried in us as our own archetypes and the deep unconscious within us, which was fed by all the stories that were told by our grandmothers. Even though many young Indians have not read Mahabharata or Ramayana or any of the literature, through stories which were given to them, and somehow in their mind there are all these old figures still living. And a book like this, especially the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, if we very closely look at all the symbols given, I just read out only one portion, one verse from Guru's book, to show how we can get a deep insight into us, and also the guidance of a book like the Gita by deciphering this myth. All these terms like Yama, etc., are ciphers, and they are to be deciphered. And relationship between words like Yama and Kala. Our life is not going endlessly on the physical level. At every stage there is a certain restraint put, and that is called Yama. Yama means to restrain. And then it marks a punctuation. Even the day and night are marked with a punctuation of sleep and waking up. And time decides for how long you can remain wakeful, how long you can remain sleeping. You cannot sleep endlessly. You cannot sleep. You cannot keep waking endlessly. All these are restrained. And these punctuations are all kada. And something like a full stop or a semicolon is put when a person comes to the close of his one physical existence, and then you say Kala has taken away. That means time has taken away. His time came. And how Yama and Kala are again related to Dharma. If we take a cracker, crack it, it explodes. And after the explosion, it cannot do anything because what was in it has become actualized and expended. So every dharma burns out. Therefore, to relate Kala to Dharma. And Kala is also called the son of Dharmaraja, the king of Dharma, one who is overseeing the Dharma. And therefore, no one is capable of watching karma more than the Dharmaraja. The Kala is put in charge of seeing our karma. How many things they have coordinated with this by making these names synonymous. Prahlādacchāsmi daityanam kālaha kalayadāmaham mrgāṇāṃ ca mrgēndroham vainadeyascha patrinam. And I am Prahlada of the Daityas. Among bases of measurement, I am time. And of beasts, I am the lord of beasts, the lion. Vainateya of birds. Vainateya means the eagle. Kadru and Vinita, they were the two sisters who were both wives of Kashyapa. And from Kadru came all the snakes, and Vinita came Aruna, and Vainateya, the eagle, is also called Garuda. It's very beautiful to read about Garuda in the Mahabharata. Garuda had to release his mother from slavery, and she was made a slave by her own sister Kadru. And Kadru's children were all the snakes. And the snake said that if you bring Amrita from Indra's palace, Indraloka, then we will free your mother. He said, all right. So he went there. And when he went there, it was kept in such a place that approach was not possible. There was a machine which was going round and round with very sharp blades. And you had to pass through that machine, and it will cut you into a million bits if you pass that way. But Garuda wouldn't care, and he passed through that and just took it, and the machine just stopped. He couldn't do anything. And then Indra came with his Vajra, diamond sword, to chop off his wings. And then Garuda said, Indra, I want to respect the Vajra. You are no equal to me, but you are somehow the god of the god, or the king of the gods. So I should respect you for the position in which you are put. Whether you are worthy or not, I should respect that position. And again I should respect the sword you are holding, because that is the mandate of your power. So to respect that, I shall offer one feather to you. So he just threw one feather and said, be satisfied with this. And then he went. And he said, then Indra became very humbled. He said, but please don't take away that Amrita. He said, that I have to. But I shall do one favor to you. I will not drink this. I don't need this. I will give it to those boys, those snakes. but you can take it away. As soon as I put it there, you can take it away. And so Indra went there. He placed the Amrita there, and then he said, "You snakes, here is it. Release my mother." That's the first condition. And then, if you know how to partake of this thing, Amrita, you should at least be clean. Go and wash your face and come clean. So all the snakes went to wash their face, and Indra took this and ran away. And on the way, he met Vishnu. Garuda met Vishnu. And Vishnu said, "You take a boon from me." And Garuda said, "I don't know the need for a boon. If somebody needs a boon only if there is some need here. I don't feel any need here. But if you want to bless, that's fine." And then, so Vishnu blessed it. Then he said, "Now look here, Vishnu, I know that you are the Lord. You bless me. But so you have to take something in return from me." And all right, what is the return you give? "I shall be your vehicle. So you sit on me and I shall take you around." So even the gift he wanted to take from Vishnu was not taking but giving. Such was Garuda. And when we take that one symbol of Garuda and try to apply in our own life, it simply transforms us. Just those chapters where you are dealing with Garuda, when you read in the Mahabharata, the concept of a bird changes. How it can rise from this mundane earth and go to such sublimity, and how it can just be a symbol of strength, a strength not to do harm to anyone, and have such humility. And what is him? And before it is the humility, others become more humble. All this, just one symbol that can transform us. Pavana pavadamasmi Ramah shastrabhradamaham Chashanam magarachasmi Srodasamasmi Jannavi. Oh, purifiers, I am the wind. I am Rama of bowmen. Of fishes, I am the Magara. Of streams, I am the Ganges. Sarganamadirandascha Matyanjayvaham Arjuna Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam Vadaha Pravadadamaham. In the structure of cantos or chapters, I am the beginning, end, and also the middle. I don't think any God will ever say that I am the beginning and the end of a canto. Of sciences, I am the science of the self. I am the dialectic of preeminent dialecticians. When two people are arguing, say that which unites their mind and that link. Aksharanamagarosmi Dvandaha samasigasya cha Ahameva akshaya kalo Tadaham vishudo mugaha. The Tirukural of Tiruvalluvar also, it begins by saying Agaram Edthalam. Of all the letters, Agaram, the A is the supreme. Among the syllabic letters, I am the A, and of compounds, I am the paired compound. Say Dvanda Samasa. He is a Samasa, he is a Dvanda Samasa. Among syllabic letters, I am the A, And of compounds I am the paired compound. I am also unexpended time. I am the maintainer, universally facing. In the Gita, a word which is most repeated is cha, this and that. That becomes a link, uniting this, uniting that. Instead of either or, this and that. So the and is so wonderful, so meaningful there. Mrityu sarvaharachaham mulpavaccha bhavishyadam kirti Shri Vacha Narinam Smridir Medha Tridikshama. I am all engulfing death and the source throwing up all things to be, and of womanly values, fame, grace, speech, memory, willpower, firmness, and endurance. Here, Nataraj Guru has given a very great importance to this verse, because this gives us almost a scheme for developing the spiritual values of a woman. Today we hear of women's liberation and all that. Thousands of years ago, a definition is given to the superior woman, and before that, that is so 7 qualities are mentioned, and the relation of these qualities with the subject mentioned in the first line could only be in that each quality is the resultant of 2 opposing forces in creative becoming represented in the personality of womanhood. Woman represents nature or becoming more than man, and this is perhaps the reason why her example is chosen here. And Tagore says, if this life on earth of ours is a garden, woman is the owner of that garden, and she tends the grove. Man is only a visitor to the garden. He comes and picks a fruit, enjoys, and passes away. But the one who is tending that garden is the woman. Woman represents nature or becoming more than man, and this is perhaps the reason why her example is chosen here. Moreover, the qualities of manhood have been mentioned elsewhere. Of the qualities enumerated, the first, kirti, fame, is a general or all-covering one. By merely being beautiful, a woman might not come up to the requirements of true womanhood. There is a group of qualities which contribute to the fame or reputation of a woman. For example, a beautiful woman might be immodest and lose her reputation. So Guru always held in great respect 7 women, such as Uma of Kumar Sambhava, and Sita of Ramayana, Savitri, and Portia from Shakespeare, Hypatia, the Alexandrian, and Joan of Arc. The next quality that enhances the value of womanhood is Shri, well-being or grace. This suggests harmony. A woman who is worried or in want may be said to lose this grace and become a nagging nuisance. So when he says Shri, beauty, outward and inward, and a sense of abundance, the capacity to give. All these are, and the opposite also is conceived as uh, when a woman has not that grace, she becomes a nuisance. Walk, speech does not suggest ability to chatter, but rather the apt and pleasing use of speech, which also implies the correct adjustment of the personality, neither too positively into exaltation nor negatively into depression. So, a true woman should think that she is the temple of Vagdevi, and her word is to bring peace in the family to everyone. She cannot just allow anyone to be let down in a family. A father and brother and husband, all these people are living together. One man may be wanting to cut the throat of the other, but the woman has to keep them all charmed, all pleased. And to the father who is tired, she has a word to console him, and to a brother who is depressed, she has a word to inspire him. To the son, a word of encouragement for him to grow up. And thus, for everyone, she has to act as a Saraswati. Smriti gives a depth to human personality. A man or woman without memory becomes easily a misfit in his or her normal environment. Hysteria might refer to such a maladjustment. Many women lack the medha, willpower, which alone can balance the personality and keep it normal. They are often subject to emotional crisis, and the physiological and organic demands made on womanhood make them weak in the matter of taking firm decisions involving the power of will. When women do have this willpower, they get the distinction or value, which is here noted as an expression of the absolute. Dhriti, firmness, is also a balancing factor like the previous willpower. At a moment of disaster, like the death of a near relative, true womanhood expresses itself in the form of this kind of firmness, when many men around them might break down. The last attribute of the womanhood is perhaps the most distinguishing quality, Kshama, endurance, is expressed by a nurse like Florence Nightingale, and she had 10,000s of wounded troops. From the Indian scene, we can readily think of the patient endurance of a Sita under the injustice of a Rama, or a Shakuntala who forgave and forgot the gross injustice of Dushyanta till chance reconciled them. Bruhatsamadada samnam Gayatri chandasamaham Masanam margashirshoham Sudunaham kusumakara. Likewise, of hymns I am the Brihasama, of meters I am the Gayatri, of months I am Margashirsha, and of the seasons the flower abounding. So when it's read all this cataloging, we cannot but admire the mind of Vyasa, who could go into all such details of whatever pleases man in his life. No department was left. Dhyudam chalayadam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham jayosmi vyavasayosmi sattam sattvadamaham. I am the chance of the responsible gamblers. I am the brilliance of the brilliant people. I am victory. I am decisiveness. I am the goodness of those established in the rear. I think only a Vyasa will make God equal to a gambler. Vrashnina Vasudevosmi Pandavanam Dhananjaya Muninam Apyaham Vyasa Kavinam Kavi. Of the Vrishnis I am Vasudeva, of the Pandavas Dhananjaya, of the recluses also I am Vyasa, of the poets the poet Ushana. Ushana is sometimes thought of as Shukra. That some people even speak of him as Valmiki. Dandodamayadamasmi nidhirasmi jigishadam maunam jaivasmi guhyanam jnanam jnanavadamaham. Of rulers I am the scepter. Of those who seek victory I am the statesmanship, and also in esoteric I am silence, and of knowers I am knowledge. Yachapi sarvabhudanam bijam tadaham arjuna na tadasti vina yatsyan maya bhudam jarajaram. And further, what is the seed of all beings? That I am, O Arjuna. Nor is there anything moving or unmoving that can exist without me. Nandosmi mama divyanam vibhudinam parandava yeshaduddeshada prokto vibhuder vistaro maya. There is no end to my divine unique values, O Parandava. What has been said of these unique values is but indicatory of their possible extensive elaboration. Yadyatipudamattvatvam srimaddurjidameva va tatra devavagachatvam mama tejom cha sambhavam. Whatever entity is unique in perfected value, in grace or in radical strength, understand that have manifested itself from a mere fractional spark of my brilliance. So one day, when I was sleeping, it was a little past midnight, a man came to my door and knocked, and I woke up and came out. Then he asked me, he was a very well-known friend, he asked me to go with him in his car, and he wouldn't tell me why. So I got into the car and went some distance. There he parked the car near the seaside. Then he said he wanted to commit suicide because his father died, and all their deposits were in father's name, and they were to open a new factory for which they ordered for heavy machinery from Germany and from Russia. And when people came to know father's death, there was a run on the bank, and so the banks wouldn't give them overdrafts, and the whole thing would crash, and he didn't want to see that, and before that he wanted to die. At that time, this verse came to my mind, and I told him, "You are a great respecter of the Gita. The Gita speaks of here three things. It speaks of Vibhudimat, Srimad, and Durjidam. You count on this. So this is a time when you should not flag. If you believe in the Absolute, you should stand firm. That is the Urjidam. Endless are the possibilities. Don't think that because your father died and there is a run on the bank, everything is coming to crash. There are other possibilities, because it is Vibhudimat. And then the Shri can come back, the grace can come back. You came in the midnight and called me. So I am seeing another possibility. Why not you drive now and call the chief minister of the state and ask him to come and lay the foundation of the next factory and take one full page advertisement in all the leading papers of Bombay, and let tomorrow people read that the chief minister is coming to lay the foundation of your next factory. The run on the bank will immediately stop. That's another possibility. Vibhudimat. And Sri will come back. He did exactly like that. And in the night itself he went and got all this supplementary page printed of the chief minister going to lay the foundation, and all the papers were brought to the ashram before distribution, and the supplementary paper was inserted in it before 4 o'clock, and then it was all sent back to the different places where it was to be distributed. And all night, after midnight, before say about 4 o'clock, all this was done. And there was no run on the bank then. All the deposit came back, and he was given the overdraft. And now that factory is twice as big than his original factory. So every time I come to these words, I think how this one word saved a man's life and his firm, and also gave job to thousands of people. So that is the Srimad, the Vibhudimat. If you remember this in our own life, there are difficulties. When the difficulties come, we think of Urjidam, Vibhudimat, and the Srimad. That saves us. Adhava Behunayidena Kim Jnadena Davarjuna Vishtapyahamidam Krishnam Egamsena Sthido Jagada. But what use is there for you, Arjuna, in this pluralistic knowledge, supporting this whole world by a single fraction of myself? I remain still as ever. This Ekamsena Sthido Jagata. When you understand that this known universe is only a fraction of what we know, or what is, and that looks so vast. So think of that whole to which it belongs, and it is unthinkable. So why should we worry about our ignorance? Why not we accept our ignorance? It's beautiful to be ignorant and live that ignorance. But where there is that ignorance, there is also the light to lead us. Purnamada Purnavidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate